that's awesome. That's why I'm here.
And that's why we're all here. Big money, big fish are on the line today. I'm Tommy Sanders saying hello from St. Cloud and Kissimmee, these twin cities in Central Florida just south of Orlando, but more importantly, headquarters for Lake Kissimmee and the first stop on the 98 Walmart FLW Tour. Well, buddy Jerry McInnes is along for the ride, as always. And, Jerry, we have some outstanding fishermen to start the year off with. How did they get here?
Boy, outstanding is right. 300 fishermen started a couple of days ago, and we've narrowed them down to 10 pros and 10 non-boaters, and they'll all start from zero today.
The Walmart FLW Tour is brought to you by Walmart. Always low prices, always Walmart. By Ranger Boats, still building legends, one at a time. By Evinrude Intruder 150 with fixed fuel injection. And by Coca-Cola. Enjoy.
10 guys left now, Tommy, as you well know, and the 5 that we're covering are Steve Daniels and Randy Howell, Randy Blockett, Jim Bitter, Mike Worm. Wouldn't you say that was a pretty good group of fishermen?
A great group, and of course all our non-boaters are going for the championship, which we will award today, and the pros are trying to make the final 5 who will fish tomorrow for the $100,000.
So much more relaxing out here, not having to cast over other people. Yeah.
Well, there were so many boats at that lock just moments ago. Of that group, Randy Blockett and local angler Tim King, I might say, are the only ones left above the lock.
That's right. The rest of the group scatters above or below that position on this massive sheet of water.
So difficult to feel a bite there on all that grass and that current. That last one just swam off with it. I didn't know he was on there.
That's Jim Bitter. Jim is a well-renowned bass fisherman. He calls Florida his home, Fruitland Park, not too far from here. He's fishing a canal that's between East Lake Toho and the main lake, and almost inside of our weigh-in tent here.
How about the non-boater? He's on the ball, isn't he? That's David Smith, Oklahoma fisherman. And, you know, I need to explain a non-boater just a little bit here as we watch him doing a great job. What a start for for Dave on this particular day. But a non-boater is the gentleman, obviously, in the back of the boat. He doesn't have a whole lot of say-so in where they're going to fish or how they're going to fish. He is almost along for the ride, I might say, and that happens for 3 straight days. It's a wonderful opportunity for someone to get out on the lake with one of these pros, one of the fishermen that is very knowledgeable about what is going on, and still have some competition because he's competing against other non-boaters, not with the guy in the front of the boat.
Did you put him on my side? I might have as shaken up as I am. I could stuck him back in the lake. No.
I'm shaking already.
All these boats around, I don't know where to cast.
Yeah, don't worry about them. It's going to be from about right there
But see,
to the bank.
I don't want to cast, you know.
Yeah, from there, I mean, anywhere from here up, all the way. I caught the majority of them throwing toward those reeds, coming back toward that fence line. Charlie got him one up there already.
That's Randy Howell from Littleton, North Carolina. Randy's one of our hot young fishermen out here on the tour. Talking about Charlie Ingram there in the background. Charlie does have a good fish. Randy is fishing with that man, Mark Sabitas from Germantown, Maryland. And Mark, on the first day of the tournament, had the big fish, 6 pounds, 10 ounces, a good one.
Oh, a real good. He's fishing with Steve Daniels, who will be catching up with a little bit later here. And these guys are fishing close to each other, as you can plainly see. Randy and Charlie Ingram are just below the dock. Randy Blockett was just above that dock. So a lot of these guys are fishing in the current with each other. So we'll be watching that all day long. On the other hand, David Smith and Jim Bitter are right out our back door, aren't they, Tom?
Right in the canal there.
Right in the canal. And
we could almost get on top of the tent, I think, and you go up first and see if we can see him there.
Dave caught a dandy right off the bat, and Jim's catching up. Oh, maybe he's not catching up.
Swimming right towards me.
Little shell water here. It's about 15 feet behind us. I guess the old river channel runs out there, and then it comes up to 10 feet. And then it's about 6 or 7 right out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they feed up on the flat more early in the morning. I haven't really had a good calm morning to fish it yet, so I don't really know what they do on these calm days. Somewhere out through here in the next 300 yards is a school of giants. We hit them the first day out here. We caught a couple of 6s and lost some big ones and had some big strings. And it was so windy you couldn't hardly fish it.
Yeah, it's been a windy tournament.
Yesterday, you throw out here and there's so much static in there, your line would float about 20 feet off the water. It was spooky. I don't like it when it's doing that.
Yeah.
There's one. Oh, get the net. Throw the buoy.
I'm right here.
All right, he's hooked. Let's get him. Oh, thanks.
No problem.
Where's the buoy at?
There it is. You see a good start for Steve Daniels. They're longtime FLW Tour watchers. Know Steve Daniels really well. He's one of the stars out here. Steve lives in Clewiston on Lake Okeechobee, but he's from back up in East Tennessee. He started out fishing on those Tennessee River lakes.
He caught in the very first FLW tournament there ever was, Tommy. You ought to remember this.
Oh, yeah.
A little trivia here. Didn't he catch like a 19-pounder?
Yeah, maybe it was 11 or 12.
He caught a giant, and that was the only fish he caught.
Well, Kissimmee is a special place as well, and we'll be back with more. Stay with us. Well, our weigh-in site there is well protected, but Florida is coming off about 6 solid weeks of rain. One of our finalists, Mike Worm, talks about how that has affected the fishing.
You know, this is only my second trip to Florida for bass fishing, so I'm not really sure exactly how weather affects it, except what my friends tell me. And we're just going to have to fish and see. These fish have been here every day. Let's hope there's a few more left today. But it was just a kind of unique situation. This little boat run right here, I said it's a boat run, it's just a cut through the weeds. But when the wind blows in this direction, it kind of acts like a funnel to funnel the bait fish out, and they'll kind of tend to pack right here in the mouth of it, and that's what we're going to try to catch. Thank the Lord for another day on the water.
High water is sure the topic of conversation around here today and has been all week. We're fishing Lake Kissimmee in a way that normally it is not fished. I will say Mike Worm is kind of fishing it traditionally here, but these guys down in the channels going from one lake to the other and around the locks and around all this swift water. Mike looks like he's got a keeper on right now.
Yeah, that's going to
Tommy.
be a fish. That'll be a good one.
But that's not normal. They're usually out in these shallow waters and fishing around the weeds and the grass a lot more. And they are catching a ton of fish, but most of them are about 1.5 pounds, probably going to be about the size of this fish Mike's got on right here, but they're going to catch a lot of them. They're just hoping that a good one is amongst that ton every now and then.
So basically they're doing more like river fishing. And I want to ask you a little bit
are.
later what they're fishing with and why in just a minute here.
Well, I tell you what, Tommy, I tell you right now what the majority of these guys are fishing with.
Tell me, bring it on.
Well, Brandy Blockett, seen here about to land another fish, hopefully, is fishing with a crankbait. Hey, there's a pretty good fish, too.
Yeah.
He's fishing with a crankbait. He fishes with a mega bass crankbait. Mike Worm and Steve Daniels are doing a little bit of Carolina rigging. Mike Worm, Carolina rigging. Steve Daniels is also fishing with a crankbait. Those two baits, crankbaits, lipless crankbaits, and Carolina rig are catching most of these fish.
That fellow fishing with Randy Blockett there, Tim King, is getting the ride of his life and the experience of his life today.
He's a youngster.
Young high schooler getting to fish with no less than Randy Blockett on an important day here in a big tournament. And that's an experience that money just can't buy right
Boy,
there.
I should say. Tim's doing a good job of netting fish. Let's hope he can catch a few.
He hasn't dropped one yet. We'll say that for him.
Man, that's a strong fish. It's hooked in the back is why he's fighting so hard. Thanks. Man, anytime you're hooking the back like that, they just fight unbelievably. I guess I'll take this out, they get twice as big when they're fighting in the back. Thanks.
Hook was down in Lake Toho for a moment.
There you go. About the size I had. That one on? Water in it? He was hooked right in the top of the head. You know, he had all that power. You know, he had his whole body, you know, nothing impeding his forward movement. But that first run he made, it's like, God, I couldn't even get the button fish fast enough to... Man. Feels like a little one again. And that's keeper. Get back here. You walking around the ball? I don't know how good he's hooked. Want me? Oh, man. Over here. I feel like David Fritz walking around the boat like that. That current, they just fight twice as hard as they normally do.
If Randy Blockett can get this one in the boat, he'll have a good start toward his goal, and his goal is to be on the water fishing tomorrow.
Boy, you can tell he has the fish congregated. Randy Howe has as well, but Randy Blockett seemed to be a little bit larger. Steve Daniels is out in the big water.
Sometimes you don't want to know what's there, you know, because you want to look. I mean, wasn't on a whole lot of fish to start with, and you want that anticipation of knowing that, you know, there may be a whole school of 5-6 pounders out there, and if you go down through there and all you catch the little ones, then you kind of, you know, you don't get as excited about it. And you need that. You need that not knowing sometimes. You learn too much in practice. There's one. Just hold down. Right between the buoys. That's a pretty good buoy throw.
Thank you.
Steve Daniels with another fish in the boat. Randy Blockett trying to untangle and get ready to throw back into that place again. Good point by Steve there. If you knew everything that was going on underwater, you wouldn't be near as pumped up about it.
Well, you know, I really enjoy watching the strategy of these guys. As you can see, he's fishing different than Randy is right here. And you know what? I've heard some folks say that these guys shouldn't be compared with great athletes, and I disagree with that. I mean, it makes the hair stand up in my arms when you know, these guys are really smart. They're really focused. They're really in very good condition. And when they go to one of these tournaments, they have a number of practice days where they fish. Man, they
from
fish.
can't see to can't see. Absolutely, yeah.
And then
12, 13 hours a day.
Then they go out and fish 4 hard days, and they need to be focused. They need to be concentrated on what they're doing, and they're pretty good athletes, I think. And then when they're done, they get in a car and drive
800 miles
800
to the next,
miles
or
to the
1,800
next
miles.
event.
Another fish on for Randy there. You're right. The casting alone accounts for some great physical ability, and these guys have to have perfect casting ability in order to compete on this level.
Yeah, and look at them handling their boats. Randy, not at this second now, he's getting in position to land that fish, but he has to put that boat in the right position to catch that fish. You watch. We'll see him again in this same position. We've already seen him there once or twice already, he isn't just out there flailing away with that lure, man.
No, it has to be exactly lined up, doesn't
And
it?
he knows exactly what's happening out there. So, again, we know these guys. We know how hard they work at it, and we kind of know what it's all about. So we do appreciate their abilities.
Randy looks like he may have another good one on there.
Darn right, boy.
He is onto some good fish in that one spot. It's a little hump, I guess, with the current moving around, and you think the fish are laying behind the hump there?
Are on it, and he's got that zeroed in, and it's really interesting. That's a good fish, yeah. I think it's really interesting that every fish we've seen him catch has been basically the same way. And again, I don't want to keep harping on this. Again, that's not an accident.
One more run and he was gone. All right, now I gotta get fish now. Thanks. Yeah, I'll be happy with 2 more just like it.
Okay, back out to Steve Daniels and his non-boater partner Frank Hyla from Lamont, Illinois.
And I mentioned that Steve was catching them on a Carolina rig. I think he has over the past couple of days, but right now he is using a how should I say this, a modified crankbait.
Crankbait with the lip cut off, right?
Right.
No, you're supposed to play these things, don't you? It's like you're in practice. It's like you know where you catch them. You never lose one in practice. Say like you don't want to catch them. Get all bent out of shape and everything. Oh. This way I like them. Hey, hit this one on, John.
I don't see him yet. Oh. Keep her up. Come on.
Hey, Steve Daniels is one of my favorite fishermen out here. Now, it's not just because I want to go to his next barbecue time. He is, and boy, don't we have a bunch of them.
We have got a bunch of it, and in addition to Steve and Hal, Blockett, Bitter, and Worm, we've got 5 other pros out there who we're not able to cover today. Who knows what's going on with them? Very anxious to find out at weigh-in time.
That's a nice one.
Okay, I didn't need him yesterday. Needed him today.
Think that'll make 14 inches?
I think he'll measure.
I think Frank's being a little tiny bit facetious there, Jerry.
We'll have to get the ruler out on that fish.
No, you don't have to step on him.
Steve's got a real good bunch of fish going, and as you can see, he's got the spot marked. He's ready for another one.
If you really want to catch one, drag you a Carolina rig out there.
All right.
After you net this.
After I net that one, huh?
This is not as big as that other one.
And that's what you said the last time.
Don't even net it. Watch out. Watch.
Okay.
Get my hook foul.
Well, what can I say? They are coming from all directions to see if these guys can catch another big bass. Lots more ahead, but this segment, as you can see, has come to a halt. But we will crank it up again in just a minute. Don't go away. Well, another one of the best-known names in bass fishing, Jim Bitter, who's been very, very faithful to the Walmart FLW Tour. It's good to see him.
Anxious to talk to Jim.
In the top 10 and up there in the canal between East Lake Toho and the main lake.
Tell us why you chose that place, Jim. Well, it's probably the place I found the most fish, and it's real swift water, and I thought this place compared to the other ones I found in the running water, this was the hardest to fish because it's really running swift, and it really works on you trying to work the bait and keeping your boat in decent position. So I thought there'd be fewer people fishing this, and I would just have a better chance at this place, and so far it has turned out to be just exactly that way.
In comparison to just getting out in the middle of the lake and fishing the grass beds or a bank or a point, this is a completely different ball game, isn't it?
Yeah, this creek here runs quite a bit, but probably not this fast very often. And the whole chain is rolling right now. I mean, the water's just sailing through it because they go so high water. And it's a little bit different than normal, so it's sucking a lot of fish into this moving water. I don't know if it's sucking them all in, but we certainly haven't been able to find them anywhere else but the moving water, so you have to assume that most of them are in these type of places.
David Smith, you've had some super consistent results here the first 2 days, 10-13, and then 11-1. Is this the kind of fishing you've been doing through the first 2 days of the tournament?
Yeah, for the most part, we're still fishing the swift water. The moving water, that seems to be the thing for this tournament.
Are you watching what Jim fishes with and try to fish exactly like he does, or fish exactly opposite that he does?
Well, right at the second, I'm trying to fish like he is because he just pulled in 2 keepers, but earlier this morning I was trying to do something a little bit different behind him and ended up getting a decent fish on.
He caught one of my good ones. The lake had been normal level, a lot of local guys would have had an advantage here, I believe, with knowing some of the good hydrilla beds to flip. This fishing here is more of a normal way of fishing, like you do in most lakes or rivers. We wouldn't have moving water here at this canal if it wasn't flooded right now. I think we've had like 30 inches of rain in a month. Man, it's coming to me quick. This is cheap.
Net?
Throw my bait over there. Oh, yeah. Here's probably a keeper. Yeah. This is a keeper. That's a good one. All right. Nice fat.
Randy Howell and Mark Sabitas just going in that little circle there in that same spot, catching fish. They're probably going to stay there all day, aren't they?
And you know, I know it doesn't really show up here, but we've got a couple of clowns in these 2 guys. They are having fun out there and obviously catching lots of fish. They're a little bit small, but I think Randy, in the 2 days before, told me he possibly caught 100 fish in this area. So along with some other boats, they're having a lot of luck down there.
Randy and Mark, both young guys. They are the future of the sport of bass fishing, and they have all the enthusiasm in the world. You could not look the 2 guys who are more pumped up about bass
I
fishing.
really have a lot of appreciation for Randy Howell. I know he's had a lot of health problems in his life, and boy, he has survived them, and great fisherman.
Get me while I'm down. Ain't that something? Oh, my God, that's a big one. That's a big one.
Here he comes, coming out. In the net. Oh, yeah. Oh, watch your
I
lip.
know, I'm hung. I saw it there. I didn't want to tell you and freak you out or nothing.
See, the net saved the day by landing the fish, but...
You hit it, Carolina Ray? Mm-hmm. Big ones are coming in, I hope.
Oh. I need a helmet.
Did you see that one?
God,
Pull him up through there.
it's a big fish.
Got him to the top. Son of a gun.
We heard Randy Howell say it. The big ones are coming in, but Jim Bitter and David Smith, whom you see here, aren't. They're not buying that one just yet.
Yeah, and they've moved out of that canal. I think they're fishing in somebody's backyard now, aren't they?
That's a good one.
Net?
Yeah. I'll bring her up again. Coming towards you. That one will fly.
I kicked the boat board in the water. I had to catch it with the net first.
This daggone wind will not let me stay where I want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Good fish, isn't it?
That's a nice one. Keep your little head down, please.
Bring him to the boat, buddy.
There he is.
All right, bring him to the... There's ours.
All right, thank you, sir.
buddy.
Keeper for Mike Worm. He qualified the first 2 days, a good weight, 27 pounds and 12 ounces.
Kelly Brooks is in the back of the boat with him. Kelly's trying to pick up $15,000 a day. Hey, and the pros are fishing for a purse of $400,000, which is a tremendous purse for these guys, about as big as you've ever seen.
Pretty good dough for a day of fishing in Florida.
A real funny feeling bite here because
It just kind of gets a little heavy.
you got the current coming so fast, they pick it up and come to you with it.
In other words, the sinker, I lost contact with the bottom. I didn't feel anything, so he was coming towards me with it.
So you got to keep pulling up to feel them pulling that coming to you.
Sometimes those are really hard to hook.
There he is.
Oh, come on.
The Walmart FLW Tour is brought to you by Eagle. Successful fishing made simple. By Land O'Lakes. The good things in life never really change. By Fujifilm. You can see the future from here. And by Chevy, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks.
Need to catch about 14 pounds.
I figure it's going to take about 13 to 14 pounds to make the cut in that range.
You know, the weather's up there today, and these guys have it to themselves today, so they're going to catch a bigger string. So 10, 11 pounds isn't going to be enough today.
We are well into day number 3 here on Lake Kissimmee, Lake Toho, and a few connected lakes here. The 10 Bass Pros trying to make the cut and be one of the 5 who'll fish for the $100,000 first prize tomorrow. Our 10 non-boaters trying hard to win the finals here. This is the day for the championship for them. They hope to win the $15,000, as we mentioned earlier, and the chance to fish in the year-end Tour Championship.
And Steve Daniels' partner, Frank Hyla, has finally scored. And it looks like that, Steve's trying to talk him into using a Carolina rig, and maybe it's paying off.
Hey, that may be the way to go.
You keep throwing that rig out there. I know for a fact. I ain't never seen a bass with about a lizard on a Carolina rig. What we've seen on Okeechobee, and what a lot of people don't get him, what a lot of people don't realize is these fish relate to open water. That's a big one. These fish relate to open water more than they do the ground.
Sorry, I'm on this side, but
Okay.
Whoa!
Let him pull off. Get him some line. That worm will come out of him like a crankbait will. Just hold him on. Bring him to the other side of the boat. Bring him right around the motor. Keep bringing him. There you go. Just like that. Hold your rod up. Just steer him. Hold your rod up. And steer him right to me. Just like that. You're done.
I already loosened my drag so much.
He's coming. He's coming, right? He ain't gonna do nothing.
Oh my God, look at the size of this thing.
Bring him to me. There you go. Man, you get him in the net. There's your big fish of the day right there.
Oh, there's a big fish in my life. Holy cow. I never caught one like this in Wisconsin. I gotta get it in the box.
Okay, now do me a favor. When you get that fish in the box, there's an anchor in that side right there. Won't you bring it to me?
Where's the anchor?
It's in one of those back. Oh, I bet we left it in that other boat. That's okay.
How big do you think that fish was?
8 pounds?
Holy cow.
He's big. He wouldn't go in the net.
My legs are shaking. Well, no matter what happens from now on, if I die, give a copy of the videotape to my family.
Well, one thing, my mama didn't raise no dummy. That's what Mill is.
Tommy, I just have to say that the handling of that whole big fish situation a minute ago there was vintage Steve Daniels. And, to be perfectly honest, sometimes your partner catching a big fish just demoralizes you. So, some of the pros, but not Steve. Boy, he turned into a guide, a coach, a true buddy, and
a
helped
cheerleader,
Frank,
too.
Absolutely. Helped Frank catch that fish. Boy, he handled it just, well, just like we'd expect Steve Daniels to handle it.
How old are you, Mark?
28.
28. We're both young guys. I just turned 24. I'm starting to get pretty old now. It starts adding up quick. The good thing about that is I learn a lot every time I go out. The thing about these fish I've been catching here, every day I've learned a little bit more about them. If you just let them tell you what to do, figure it out, and keep changing around and stay open-minded. You gotta always listen to your instinct. Your gut feeling tells you to pick up another bait and throw it. You always do it. There you go. Mark's got one. A big one?
Mark Sabitas with another fish there, and Randy's feeling old at 24. They're starting to pile up fast, the years, Jerry.
I can't get over that. And next time I see him, Tommy, I'm going to slap him. 24 years old.
Worried about getting old.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, it just means that time is going by fast, which means he's having a great time, and I know he is.
Hey, you can see the scenery is the same every time we see him, so he's just circling around, round and around in that same area doing the same thing. Boy, he's catching a lot of fish. It's working so far.
Yes, sir.
Let's just hope he'll keep, and if he keeps, he'll be number 5. We'll show off you. Oh, that's the company.
Yep, he keeps 14.5.
Well, that's your 5.
Would be one I'd hope to get rid of, but I'm happy to have him.
Good job.
Number 5.
Both got a limit at 4 to 10.
I believe my man's thrown a Carolina rig before.
Couple times.
Well, I kind of messed up. I felt sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for him anymore. He's kind of waxing me now.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. I don't think I needed that one. I can catch another 3 or 4 pounder, and I got plenty.
Oh, there he is, dude.
Stay on there, baby. Mama toad there. Might keep her out of this current a little bit. Come here, sweetie. Let me bring her on up here closer. A little bit too much line out. She ain't as big as I thought, but I certainly will take her.
Jim Bitter and David Smith there. David's from Edmond, Oklahoma, and the place looks mighty familiar. I think that's where they started, right?
Yeah, wasn't it pretty back in there in the morning when the sun coming up?
Yeah.
A lot of swift water there, and these guys are as we've talked about, all day long here are sure fighting the current and using the current and figuring out where the fish are laying in the current.
That one will work.
That's 5. It's the first one measures. I never did bother to measure it yet.
Well, what a year Steve Daniel had in 1996. 2 victories, including the Tour Championship up at Lake Sinclair in Milledgeville. And a lot of folks who follow the Walmart FLW Tour think, well, did he take 1997 off?
He just vanished for a year, didn't he?
Not so. I mean, he didn't take it off, just didn't appear in the top 10. And, Steve, I know you are glad to be back.
Yeah, I've had a fun week this week.
Oh, man. Tell us what you've been doing and how it's worked for you.
Well, been fishing a lot of open water. Hadn't been hardly any boats around where I'm fishing. Got a couple little bars, and fishing's been good.
But you didn't find this pattern or this place in practice, did you? Or
yeah,
did
I knew
you?
about it in practice. I stopped on it a couple times, and every time I went by it, I would catch one, and I would just, I didn't really want to know what was really there. I knew there was some quality fish on it, didn't know how many, but I spent a lot of my time fishing really shallow with some buzz baits and spoons, and I really expected that pattern to really get good, but it never did. And I still had this drop-off out in the lake that gave me a little confidence, even though I didn't have the shallow bite going very well. I still felt like I could, you know, do fairly well in the tournament on this drop if those fish would really bite. And
Hey, what kind of a drop-off are you talking about? How drastic a drop-off?
There's actually two drops. It comes out of 15 feet of water up to about 10. It flattens out for just a little bit, and then it comes up to about 7. And the fish have been on the 7 to 10-foot drop. And I've caught just about everything I've caught on a rattling route, a 1/2 ounce and a 3/4 ounce. And I've modified them just a little bit, but they have really eaten that bait.
Steve Daniels is the thinking man's fisherman, always thinking, always plotting a new scheme out there. And Frank Hyla, you have been the beneficiary of all that good brain work out there today. You got to be feeling terrific about how you stand right now.
Yeah, it feels really good. You know, you pick somebody or you get picked with somebody like Steve, and it's just like being out with a guide, and he's made some great, you know, suggestions all day.
Let's talk about the fish.
Yeah, there's one pretty big one there.
Tell us how you caught him and what you felt like when you got him into the boat.
Caught it on a Carolina rig. It hit way at the end of the cast. I mean, so it was a long way out. It jumped 2 or 3 times and scared me to death. And then made a couple runs right at the boat. And at first, I didn't think we were going to get him in the net, but we got him in there. And I just stopped shaking about a half hour ago.
Are you starting to think a little bit now about the possibility of a first-place trophy and the possibility of $15,000?
I'm trying not to, but I got to admit it's running through my mind. Just missed one there.
And one more thing about Steve Daniels. He was one of the finest barbecue cookers in the Southwest.
You can wrangle an invite from him and
Boy,
his wife, Debbie. They do it upright.
Don't pass that up.
This might be the best fishing day of my life.
Tommy Sanders, Jerry McInnes here with you, and we're hoping you'll be with us all season long, which takes in the next 13 weeks. We are headed to Texas, headed to Arkansas, Kentucky, Connecticut, among others, and many other choice bass fishing locations on the way this season. We will see the largest purses in bass fishing history, and our Angler of the Year will become the Land O'Lakes Angler of the Year and will land on the front of the Wheaties box, believe it or not. So a good start is very important.
I need to catch about a 4-pounder to make sure. And there's one, hit it right there and missed it. Yeah, that's the whole thing. There's very few females being caught in this tournament. I mean, I saw very few 4-pound bass even weighed in here. Oh, yeah. Man, this is a big fish unless it's foul hook. It's a strong fish. Oh, man. Oh, what a fish. God, this is a giant. This is a giant here.
I guess we're going to find out if that's a giant or not. But, boy, Randy and Tim have sure got the drill down. You pull out to the front of this hole. You throw a crankbait into some special little place up there. You hook the fish. You drift back to the lock. Man, we've seen that all day long. This isn't the same fish, is it? I don't think so.
I don't know. It's kind of getting boring, though.
Here it comes. Oh, yeah. Woo! Man. God. That's the biggest bass of my life right there. Yeah. The biggest bass of my entire life. Woo! Man. God dang. That's the biggest bass I've ever caught in my life. God. What a bass. Man. God, is that precious or what? Man.
Yeah. There you go.
God.
Now, which one you got to take out?
Man. God dang. When that sucker jumped, I've never caught a 10-pounder in my entire life, and that thing that's pushing 10 right there. That's the thing about it. I mean, all of this is fishing now. All right, man. There you go. Nice and easy.
Well, as you can see there, Randy has stayed at the same place, caught himself a good limit. And here, another example of how great these pros can be. Randy's now devoting the rest of his day to making sure that his non-boater gets his limit.
Good job. Now, that didn't take long, did it?
Hey, Randy, you know what I'm really anxious to talk to you about? And that's fishing current. And this is primarily what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, the thing about it, this is very unusual for this lake, Jerry, to have current in it. And what happens, it's just created a unique situation for the fish that they're capitalizing on. It's really setting them up where they can ambush their prey a lot better than they normally could. And basically what it's doing, it's positioning the fish that normally wouldn't position like that without any current. And there's probably 10 or 15 areas on the lake that there's actually some ambush points and some situations where the fish will stage on these specific spots to ambush the bluegills and crappies and shiners to come by.
Well, could you explain to me exactly how you would use this current? This isn't a case of you just, for the most part, making a cast and reeling your lure back to the boat. You're actually using the current to move your lure correctly.
Yeah, what we're doing, most of the fishermen in this tournament, obviously they're casting upstream into the current because, you know, a fish will always position into the current, you know, to take better opportunity of the prey coming towards them. So what they're doing is they're setting up in situations where eddies or slack water is created in and near around this current. And most of the time their boat is in slack water, casting into the current, bringing their bait down to where the current and the slack water intersect. And that's exactly where that big one that I caught came in. It was an area where the slack water intersected the current, and it was just a perfect ambush point for a big one.
And on top of all that, it's a lot of fun to fish that way, isn't it?
A lot of fun, right on the seam there, as they say in river fishing. Now, Tim King, first question we have for you is, how do you get out of school for a whole week to fish an FLW Tour event?
Bribe my parents.
What?
Bribe my parents.
You bribed your parents. Well, okay. Well, you're on your way now. You may be loaded enough to bribe them even more. Tell us what the whole experience has been like for you. It's got to be an extraordinary thing for a young man who's still in high school.
Oh, I tell you what, fishing with Randy has been top notch. He's probably one of the nicest fishermen I've ever fished with before. And I didn't have enough fish up till about a half hour ago, and he put me on a spot, and I caught 4 real quick.
Hey, well, Tim, we understand, of course, you go to St. Cloud High School, and we understand that Dr. Howell, the principal over there, has got a wanted sign out for you.
They're looking all over. They're going to drag you back to school this afternoon.
The way I hear it, they're about to let school out.
Yeah, so everybody can come over. But you got a big support group already, right?
I tell you what, my family's been behind me 100%, and I really couldn't be doing this without them.
Well, the level of activity is certainly starting to pick up at our weigh-in site, the Super Center Walmart here in St. Cloud, Florida, and we are going to weigh some fish, make a few fishermen very, very happy very soon. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, yeah. Double. That's a little one. Got a crappie. Big old crappie. Little old bass.
And just guess what the Fuji flashback is today. Just guess.
There's your big fish today right there.
Oh, there's a big fish in my life. There's a big fish in my life. Holy cow. Holy cow. Holy cow.
The Walmart FLW Tour is brought to you by Igloo. It's for keeps. By Uniroyal, driving dependability home. By Everstar, the name says it all. And by Citgo, when it counts.
10 ounces over the last 2 days. 5 fish, all 5 alive, and the weight, 12 pounds, 10 ounces, 12-10. All 5 alive here, and the weight, 9 pounds, 9 ounces, 9-9. Hit them on the scales and see what yours weigh, Tim. Tim King from Kissimmee, Florida, 5 fish, 9 pounds, 11 ounces, a good stringer. Wow, look at that. Isn't that tremendous? What a deal. What a deal there. Frank, you are the champion of the Walmart FLW Tour first stop in 1998. 19 pounds and 15 ounces. What a great day of fishing. Give another round of applause there. That's just great.
To get to the business at hand, of course, we're going to get down to 5 anglers who will fish for that $100,000 first prize tomorrow.
Let's just get a little taste of what Don had out there
We have
today.
the 5 bass limit here.
Very nice, very nice.
Take a look at that.
And just fishing kind of toward my strengths. I'm doing a lot of things that I really like doing, and it's not traditional Florida fishing, but it's working.
Keith Green and our other 4 pro finalists have a big day coming next week, and boy, you better be here for it.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, the Florida fishing is really notorious for the conditions dictating, you know, what you need to do. There's a lot of variables like the wind and the sun and the, you know, the angle of the sun, you know, just the ripple or flat surface and the fishing pressure. So tomorrow just have to go out and let the day unfold and, you know, just fish each cast one at a time.